All right, so let's talk about this real quick. One of my friends sent me this post on Facebook, and it made me think about this. So I don't think I've ever done a video on this, and I see people in my comments asking this question from time to time, depending on what the topic of the video is about. So here's the thing. All right, now, I personally never use that word with a hard R. Ever. Okay? Once in a while, you will find some black people that do when they're exclaiming disdain for their own people that did something really bad. I personally never use a hard R. Ever. Because I know what it is and where it comes from. It's very hateful. Now, you will hear many black comics, many rappers, and many black people, period, point blank, say it with an A at the end. I personally only say it in a comedic fashion. Only. Okay? You know, if it's amongst friends that I know, you know what I mean? Come up to them, look at this bunch of ugly. You know what I mean? Just messing with them. With an A. I use it comedically. There are many black people that will tell you that it was such a hateful word that we took it, tweaked it, and then used it as something positive. That's to say brother or sister or someone that I have affection for or love for. You may not think that that is correct, but I could understand why that may have happened. It's a very venomous word. Now, many people that are not of the black race ask the question, well, why is it okay for them to say it and not us? You have to get it through your head that it with an A is different for us than it is with an R. So that's what's okay to black people. And not all black people, I will tell you. Because a lot, especially the older generations, do not play that. Because they lived through the hatred and they don't even want to hear anything even like it. But for every race now that sees this video that is not black, and you say to yourself, well, why do they say? Black people say it with an A. Racist people say it with a hard R. That is the problem. Okay? It's not okay for you to say it with a hard R. That's what black people are telling you. Okay? Now, what are the situations where there's the white guy that got beat up or knocked out because he used it with an A in front of black people? That is a very touchy situation because you have to be given a pass to be able to say that. This is not my thinking. This is what I know from growing up black. You cannot just be white or any other race and say that without possibly running into a problem. You have to have known these guys and gotten that pass. Okay? I, personally, if I were not black, I would err on the side of caution and never use that word with a hard R, and absolutely never use it with an A around black people that I do not know and have not known for years. Okay? And I know have given me the pass to say that. You get it? Now, I personally, if I were another race other than black, I would not be able to say it anyway. I just be like, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm gonna leave that alone. You know what I mean? Um, the only other time that I've used it with an A, sometimes but it's still comedic. Sometimes I have this one white friend who's very professional, and he gets he gets uncomfortable when he hears people. Okay, I remember a specific example. We were out at a bar, and another friend of his that was white was talking about the Dave Chappelle skit where it was the family that was spelled Nigar. It's the family. He was talking about that skit, and he's laughing his ass off with me talking about it. He is so uncomfortable with talk like that. So every once in a while, I might say to him, "Hey, come on," with an A. "Come on, let's go." You can tell he's like, "Ah, man, come on." Like, that messes with him. But it's always still comedic, okay? You really won't hear me using it in a serious fashion. Even when I'm angry, you won't hear me saying it with an A in a serious manner. Once in a while, I might. Once in a while, I'm like, so this ignorant told me that he was going to give me the money next week instead of today because he ran into a problem. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Certain situations, I will get irritated with my people and be like, man, look, these over here told me. You know what I mean? Like that. But that's how we use it. So now you guys understand. I don't think there's anything else that I need to explain from it. I truly don't exactly know where it came from, but I happened to be online, and this is a weird situation. I happened to be online somewhere, and a white history professor, college professor, starts talking to me. Just starts talking to me. And, he starts to explain where the word came from. I'm like, why is he offering me this? I don't get it. Why? Like, how some people, when you're in line, will just start talking to you. And he was like, yeah, actually, now I don't know, because I hear the history of the word is a little hazy. But, but I listened to him. So he said that it actually was Niger. He said that they would say, he's a man from Niger, or we have some Nigers here. And it wasn't meant derogatory. It was just meant to describe. Like we've got some Europeans, or, whatever. He's a Niger. So it grew from that, he told me. And I was like, oh, that's very interesting. So he said, yeah, at first it wasn't anything that was derogatory, but it became something that he said it actually became Niger, but he said that it was still it was just a term for darker skinned people. It wasn't something derogatory, but he said as the slave trade increased and they got to America and they were using the term, they used it in a very venomous, disdain way. And that's how it started to get its negative connotation, its negative definition. So he was explaining to me that it actually never was negative. It was just a way of describing, darker skinned people. It wasn't anything other than saying black or white, or more or whatever. And I thought that was very interesting, that the way someone uses a specific word can change its meaning, which, if his story is true of the history of it, then it absolutely did. You'll never hear me use the hard ER. Even when I've told stories about people calling me that, which I've only been called it once, in like life, face to face. I was a little kid, and this lady's dog, I was riding my bike past her yard, and this lady's dog came out barking at me, and I barked back. And the dog went running. And as I'm down the street, she comes out the house. "Get out of here, you!" I was like, that was the first time I was ever called that. And then, of course, I've been called it hundreds of times. Flash forward, 30 some odd years. Flash forward, I've been called it so many times on YouTube, it's become, I'm just bulletproof. It's like, ding, 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 ding. You know what I mean? It's like, so, yeah, there you go. So there's my take on it. All right. There's my time. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because my friend sent me a post that a white woman had posted about basically asking that question. Well, why? And she was like, whenever I see any form of the word, it really bothers me. And people are actually, some people were nice to her, but some people were attacking her. Well, nobody asked you, Sarah, and stuff like that. We were just talking about it on the phone, about kind of like how it's used and how we use it. So she's another black woman, so we were discussing it. So there you go, folks. I've given you what I know and can give you of it. So you never have to ask yourself that question. If ever you see any person posting that in the comments or anywhere ever, remember this video and post my link and say, there you go, there's your explanation. All right?